want it or not.
Whether you want it or not, if they offer you food, you have to take it because that's their way of saying thank you.
Yes.
For what they do. And then, so when I went there to Miss, the daughter was Miss May, and she would always, or if she wasn't there, then the patient's son was there, and they'd be like, "You want some fried bread?" And I'm like, "What's fried bread?" It's just like and he always had a coffee on the stove.
Okay.
And so you had to have the fried bread and the coffee, and then for Thanksgiving she made a sweet potato. She called it sweet potato pie, but I would call it more like a tart. But it was like a, oh God, it was amazing.
It's called sweet potato pie. It's a turnover.
It's like
Okay.
it's like a double layer. It's got the sweet potato. Oh, it's so good. But they give you these things. I went to another patient's house and they crab and shrimp and frog and for a living, that's their living, is whatever season it is, that's what they do. And the lady was, I only had her for a couple of months, but she was my first hospice patient. And so I go there, and they had just come in from crabbing, and they're like, "You eat crab?" And I was like, "Yeah, I eat crab." They're like, "We're going to give you some." I was like, "No, that's your livelihood, you know, that's what you do." And they're like, "Whatever." And so I was with her, and the men went outside, and they came back in. They're like, "We put a 5-gallon bucket out by your car," and it was a 5-gallon bucket, and I was loaded with crabs. It was completely packed with crabs.
Nice.
I was like, "Okay," and I put them in the back of my car. And
they're going, "Hi, hi, hi,"
and
you're going,
"I guess I got supper."
Yummy.
Yeah, that was supper. And then they were like, it was always like, "We're cleaning out our freezer. Here's some deer tamales, or here's this, or here's that," because so and so just went hunting and now we're repacking it with the new stuff, so we gotta get rid of the old stuff. But they just give, and you can't.
You can't say no.
You can't say no.
And you don't want to, really.
No, you don't want to. They were
That's
so good.
Nice.
But my patient there, so she spoke French growing up, and a lot of people down the bayou, especially the older people down the bayou, a lot of them just speak French or broken English. And she had dementia, and I go there, and she would just talk and talk and talk. I had no idea what she was saying. And one day, I was there, and she started speaking to me in English. And I was like, "I didn't know you could speak this much English." And her kids were standing there. They're like, "We didn't know she could either." Because she just busted it out one day. I was like, "Okay."
The more people you meet with dementia, the more you kind of go, are they really out of place, or are they in place, and we're all just like confused by what they're doing? Yeah. Because like, who knows where that came from, but it was stuck in her brain, and now it's coming out. They're going, "We didn't know she spoke that much English either." Yeah,
they're good people. Good people down here. Everybody's the people that I'm renting land from. I call it the compound.
Okay.
Because it's
well, there's the 2 RVs out there too. Are they long term or short term?
No. They take those RVs out and go RV.
Oh, that's for
the people, and the people in the front house. Oh, so the hurricane came through, Hurricane Ida, and it really messed up. You'll see the blue tarps on there, all the roofs still, because there's a backup of getting repairs and such. But the people I live with, or the behind, like they're watching. They know when a warm shower is person. In fact, Mr. Burrick and Miss Merrill, they're the mom and dad of the people that live in the front house, and they live in the little mother-in-law apartment. And somebody around here, their family, I think their family up here, called them. I had a couple of guys coming in, and they called them and said, "Hey, there's 2 homeless people driving down your driveway on bicycles. They look homeless." And she's like, "Oh no, they're just going to Vanessa." That's her people.
They look homeless. Well, it's really funny because Because, like, the traveling cyclist, like, the appearance can kind of run the gamut, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I look like a newbie because my stuff is all new, right?
You do have new stuff. I noticed
it's new,
that.
and I am a newbie, so I look like a newbie. I think it's, for me, I think it looks pretty obvious because I've known other traveling cyclists who you can tell that they're seasoned.
Right.
Because, first of all, they usually have a lot more, which is funny to me.
They have less. They end up always asking, what have you sent back? Because they always say they started off with more and then they, like, I don't need all this.
Well, I'm kind of thinking in a couple more weeks I can get rid of some of what I got too. I don't plan on keeping all of it. But this German guy that I met just a couple weeks ago, I was taking a break on some road. And next thing I know, 20 minutes later, this guy's riding by. I'm like, well, what's that all about? So he comes and stops and talks to me. He'd been making his way from Cabo, Mexico, all the way, and I met him. This was just outside of Winnie, Texas. And so he'd been on the road for 10 weeks. But he had done some touring before. But he just had this look about him that he could possibly be, like, having lived for years on his bicycle, right? Yep. It's not his first tour, so maybe that has something to do with it. But they tend to, like, the bags maybe don't match, or maybe they look like they've got a little bit more weather on them.
Yes.
They've been used a bit longer, and I found that his panniers on both the front and the back were the same size, and then he had something hanging off of the front of the handlebars and the trunk sack, and I just thought he looks like somebody who's collected, more as he's gone.
Yeah.
So it's I can imagine why some neighbors would be like, look homeless.
The homeless people are coming down your driveway.
No, they're just seasoned cyclists.
I've been in that for 6 years, so I've had all the
different kinds.
Yeah.
Well, how many people do you think you posted?
Over 100, definitely.
I was just listening to, there's a podcast called the Bike Life Podcast, and it's managed and hosted by the Warm Showers entity. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just kind of using it as something to pass the time as I'm cycling. And I was listening to today, the episode was this couple in McKees who have been hosting since 2008, and they've had like over 100 people that they posted.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. I mean, it's a lot.
So what do you use any other platforms? Like, do you have Scout Surfers or
no?
Okay.
In fact, one guy had sent me a message on Warm Showers, and he's like, he was coming from New Orleans to here, but he wasn't on a bicycle; he was on a motorcycle. Okay. And he was like, still 2 wheels, right? Yeah. And I'm like, no.
It's a little bit different.
No, I'm not doing couch surfing. Yeah. Well, because I have my daughter too.
Yeah. I know there's something. I would please, thank you. There is something about kind of the. It's a specific thing. The touring cyclist is a unique thing.
You have a mission.
Yeah.
You're doing something. You're not just
when you use your body as a motor.
Yeah.
You kind of
have a little bit of discipline. And
thank you.
And I was telling Sean about some of my people that have come through, and there's no one, even the odder people, there's no one that I would not have again.
Okay, yeah.
No one. Mm-hmm. I mean, any of them.
Have you, and now, okay, here's a good one. Have you ever denied somebody, and what was it based on?
So one time, sometimes people don't send you a message. Sometimes they call you on your phone, because I have my phone number on there. Yeah. And a couple, it was just odd. They called me at like 4:30 on Friday afternoon. I was working, and it just caught me off guard, I guess. And they're like, I don't know. They're like, we're coming from New Orleans. Can we stay with you tonight? At 4:30 on Friday. And I was like, what? And I was like, they didn't even say Warm Showers or anything. And I was like, are you on Warm Showers? And they're like,
hey, get over here.
Can you send me a message on Warm Showers? Yeah. And I can look at your profile, whatever. Here. And so anyway, they sent me a message, and so they had just signed up for Warm Showers like that day or whatever.